Got to get some yards. If it's 4th and 19, you have to punt. You can get 10 yards. You're okay. Don't run crossers here. Just get up about 8-10 yards. The Jags are going to chip on the edge with the tight end here and try and look for a big play.
Bortles. Open. O'Shaughnessy goes out. They only picked up about 4 or 5.
Bortles is going to have to do something out of the norm. He's going to have to look off the linebacker who's supposed to be in the zone, or he's going to have to move around.
Got to pick up 14 all the way down to the 28 for a first.
It's man-to-man. All 3 receivers over here. All 3 corners over here.
Stepping up and throwing, and it is knocked down by Gilmore.
It's really a pretty good ball by Bortles. It gives him a chance. It's just an incredible defensive play by Gilmore. Just an incredible play. It was a good throw. Bortles did a great job, stepped up. Oh.
And that was the way the Jacksonville Jaguars season would end last year, in the AFC Conference Championship game. Literally 1 game away from the Super Bowl. Now, this is a franchise that's been known for its demise during the team's history, so this moment was huge, monumental, gigantic, titanic, any synonym you could think of to emphasize the word big. Defeating the Patriots would have made it the first time the Jags went to the Super Bowl in the history of their existence. But with a very strong defense and a talented running back on the other side of the ball, most figured they were a few off-season moves away from being better than they were a year ago. Hell, I know I did. But in fact, as we sit here and speak in retrospect, that definitely wasn't the way things panned out. So now I'm sitting here asking myself, damn, what the hell happened to the Jacksonville Jaguars? So let's talk about it. Drop my intro.
It's killer raps, we got the hottest staff. In 03, I made a dynasty like Robert Kraft.
Jacksonville's 2017 campaign was one for the books, I tell you that. They had one hell of a year that no one expected. They went 10-6 and had the number 2 ranked defense in the league behind Minnesota. And it wasn't a weakness on that side of the ball at all. Pretty much everybody knew their weakness was on the offensive side of the ball, but the team figured that if they were to limit the turnovers and ran the ball effectively, they could probably win some games, right? Well, that philosophy worked for a bit, because they would lead the league in rushing as a team, and as I illustrated earlier, they would have the number 2 ranked defense, allowing the 2nd fewest yards, but were number 1 against the pass. So why the significant drop-off from this season to last season? Well, first off, you have to look at the injuries. Right? Injuries to some people are used as excuses because the whole league suffered from injuries, right? But this can be actually the worst situation for a team trying to be successful. Last season, they were fortunately one of the healthiest teams in the league, even though they did lose Allen Robinson week 1 with a torn ACL. So that factor could be attributed to their success in the playoffs. But as of this season, they ain't been so lucky. I mean, they lost their starting left tackle week 2 and their starting center in week 10. Both tight ends week 5 and 6. Running back Corey Grant was out for the season, and star running back Leonard Fournette missed 6 games with a serious hamstring injury. They also lost Marquise Lee for the entire season early in the year, who was coming into this season projected to be their number 1 wideout. So in my opinion, I think the Jags organization expected the defense to carry them even more than they did in the previous season. I mean, this shows by the moves, or lack thereof, they made in the offseason. Some are understandable, and some is just, I can't wrap my head around it. I mean, they damn near lost their entire offense. I mean, they lost Mercedes Lewis to Green Bay, Allen Hurns to Dallas, and Allen Robinson to the Bears. I mean, those players may not be that productive currently for their respective teams, but they did mean a lot to the Jacksonville Jaguars when they were healthy. They also signed Blake Bortles to a 4-year contract extension with a whole lot of incentives in that contract, y'all. So it really wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. But that obviously didn't work because Blake Bortles became, well, Bortles. I mean, he was bottom half of the league in every statistical category for a quarterback, and he just had a terrible season to say the least. Check it out, y'all. Drive success is an advanced analytical stat created by Football Outsiders that measures the percentage of series that result in either a first down or a touchdown. right? Last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars ranked 14th in the league in that analytical stat. This year, they ranked 27th in the league in that advanced analytical stat. And Blake Bortles has a lot to do with the lack of success offensively for this team, which led to him getting benched late in the season. Listen, y'all, coaching is very underrated. I'm sure this isn't the first time my loyal subscribers have heard me say this quote, but I truly, definitely believe that. The offense was so bad, it led to the offensive coordinator eventually getting fired after 7 straight losses. What's crazy is that the Jags actually started the season at 3-1, and it was all downhill from there. But I believe this firing was kind of overdue. I mean, how can your offense be this bad with an offensive-minded head coach and offensive coordinator? Speaking of the head coach, I don't think he's too far behind. I mean, I understand that they want to be a hard-nosed team that plays great defense and runs the football a lot offensively, but this is the new age of football. What teams are winning championships like that? Let's be honest, y'all. The Jacksonville Jaguars need to catch up with what's going on today. They need to be more modern. They need a head coach that's going to be young and innovative. I know I sound like a broken record when I speak on these current teams, but face it, that's what's hot right now. Everyone is looking for that new, young QB with a big arm to throw the ball 30+ times a game. That's just how the league is today. I mean, to me, the Jags playbook and play calling are just too simplified. Remember that video I just showed in that intro? Well, what wasn't displayed is the fact that Jacksonville actually had a 20-10 lead in the 4th quarter of that game. They would get a stop and play not to lose instead of actually playing to win the game.
Here's what's going on. They know their quarterback stinks. They know that their offense without Leonard Fournette stinks. And as a result, they're trying to win games. And they believe that, just defending and stopping opponents is not enough. They've got to make plays and literally score for them to win because they have no faith on the offensive side of the ball.
They would line up in an obvious running formation and hand the ball off to Leonard Fournette right into a stacked box until they get a 4th and long, then they would punt. I mean, they lose most of these games where they have a lead late in the 4th quarter due to bad play calling and unaggressiveness. Same thing happened week 10 against the Steelers this season. They had the lead late in the game and chose to run the ball against a stacked box in an obvious running situation. Just no aggressiveness at all whatsoever. I mean, why not line up in a passing formation and run the ball? Or why not line up in a running formation and pass the ball? Seems like a simple way to keep the defense off balance, right? Well, somebody needs to deliver that bit of information to Jacksonville. But both of these games were games they were supposed to win, but lost because of bad play calling and lack of aggression. Truth be told, though, bad play calling cost the Jags a lot of close games and even a Super Bowl berth last season. Keep that in mind, y'all. Now, one last thing I want to address. I can't let them off the hook either, because the Jags defense wasn't as good as they were last year either. But to be honest, it would have been hard to duplicate the performance they put up last season because that defense was historically great. But the 3 major things that stand out as far as the regression of that defense to me was takeaways, sacks, and red zone conversion rate. Last season, they were second, and first in those 3 categories. This season, they were 28th in takeaways, 25th in total sacks, and 27th in red zone conversion rate. And in my opinion, these 3 stats are the most important when critiquing the defense. But then again, Jacksonville was bottom half in the league in time of possession, which means that defense was on the field a whole lot more this season than they were last season. And the more you're on the field, the more tired you are, and the more susceptible you are to make mistakes. I'm not giving them excuses, but that's just the real deal. Now, Jacksonville has made an attempt to shore up that offensive line by signing All-Pro guard Andrew Norwood, but he hasn't played up to his contract. Doug Monroe is a former offensive line coach. So if they want to be a run-heavy team, they need to be shoring up that offensive line and going after a QB in this year's draft. The whole offense outside of Leonard Fournette needs reconstruction, in my opinion. Playmakers on the outside is a must as well. Jacksonville needs to work and work fast if they want to capitalize on the youth and talent they have on the defensive side of the ball and have a bounce-back season next year. I'd love to see that happen. But anyways, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Also, subscribe to the channel if you love sports the way that I do. Man, this was a long video, but hey, I felt like this needed to be talked about. It's just my opinion though, so if you think I'm speaking that nonsense, holla at me down in them comments, man. Y'all know what to do. But let's see the adjustments Jacksonville actually makes this offseason to make this a stronger team come 2019. But I ain't gonna hold y'all no much longer. It's been a doozy, y'all, and as always, OG out.